I'd like your assistance with this investigation, since you two are the only ones who have seen the alleged ghost. I have a few theories, but we don't have enough leads yet. This should be approximately where you first encountered the ghost. Of course, we cannot conclude whether the woman is actually a ghost or not at this point, but I'd like to go over everything that happened again. Do you recall anything she said at the time?
She warned us not to go near her, and she said if we didn't leave, our souls would become trapped here.
And then what happened?
Then, everything seemed to get darker, and Paimon started to feel dizzy. There were ghostly flames flickering all around, and...
Based solely on your account, I don't believe she actually meant any harm. She just didn't want you to stay here. But this evidence alone is insufficient to make any valid assumptions. She could very well be guarding some treasure or covering up a crime. If only there was some more conclusive evidence.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, it's you guys! What are you all doing here? We heard you were out searching for clues, and we wanted to help. Oh, that's really brave of you.
Actually, we're also really unsure about what's happening here. We just asked the members of Mr. Ito's gang about what happened to them, and it sounded really scary. That lady is either a nasty evil spirit or a formidable yokai. Either way, it's not good. But we still want to hold the Mikawa Flower Festival. Uh-huh.
We long admired the friendship between Lord Kamai and the samurai, which is why we want to hold the Mikawa Flower Festival to return the favor we once received from the humans. Even though our powers are limited, we don't want this bond of friendship to vanish. The Mikawa Flower Festival is meant to be enjoyable for everyone.
The Chinju Forest covers a large area, so it'd be great to have more help in the investigation. Welcome to the team. Let's all do our best to figure out what's going on.
Don't worry, we're very familiar with the area. We won't miss any clues.
Similar scare tactics. And she didn't have the time to completely hide the traces. I believe we're closing in on the truth now. I'm almost certain that the woman you encountered was not a ghost. She possesses no extraordinary powers. She was merely scaring people with some small props she had set up ahead of time.
Some small props? But can you really do all that with just some props? What we saw was absolutely terrifying.
First and foremost, the test of courage contributed to the unsettling atmosphere here. You were initially frightened by your first encounter with these 3 yokai, and then shortly after, you ran into the mysterious woman. It was natural for you to be on edge. Because you were already tensed up, you were breathing more rapidly and inhaled a lot of sleeping powder that she had sprinkled around the area. That is what caused you to feel dizzy. That's when she pulled down the shade cloth and lit those so-called ghostly flames, creating a terrifying scene. That's the most likely explanation anyway.
So, it was all just a show? She tricked us!
The truth has surfaced. It's time to put an end to all the unnecessary panic and await the outcome of the test of courage.
Okay, but please be careful. If you run into any danger, simply call out our names. We'll be able to hear you.
There shouldn't be any danger now, but thank you anyway. Let's go.
I knew it. I knew that you would come find me here.
There she is! Paimon thought you were a yokai like the others, but they said they'd never seen you before. So, who are you? And why did you try to scare us?
I have already warned you never to speak to me. If you don't leave now, then...
She's terrifying! Hazel, it sure doesn't seem like she's using any props this time!
Don't move. Just trust me. Your yokai power won't scare us. It will only hasten your demise.
Yokai power?
Huh? How did you know?
You're a yokai that emerged from an object and assumed a human form outside of your own body. When this type of yokai is close to its own body, it can use some yokai power, but that ability weakens as it moves further away. And if the original body is destroyed, then the yokai that originated from it will likewise perish. Should I refer to you as a Hagoita spirit or Tsukumogami?
Don't bother. You may call me Hanyuda Chizuru. That is the name I go by now.
Chizuru, why do you want us to leave? If you're a yokai, you should understand why the other yokai want to interact with humans. Besides, we had a great time playing Akitsu Yugen together, didn't we? Just like the story of Kamai and the samurai.
Yes, that's why. That's why I don't want you to be sad too.
Sad? What do you mean?
I'm sure the yokai have already told you of the story about Kamai befriending the samurai. But they don't actually know the entire story. The samurai was about 25 years old when they met at the festival. They met again 10 years later and remained friends. They spent time together drinking, traveling, and sparring. When they had first met, they merely respected each other, but 10 years later, they became best friends. After another decade, the samurai had reached the pinnacle of his swordsmanship and won their duel by a narrow margin. Kamai was so astonished by his defeat, he gave up drinking and began training to become stronger for their next duel. However, another 10 years later, Kamai did not meet the samurai. As it turned out, war had broken out in the south, and the samurai had gone to defend the border. Kamai was unconcerned, because 10 years was nothing in a yokai's lifetime. But when they met once again, Kamai discovered that the samurai was already 65 years old. He couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the samurai's gray hair and scars covering his body.
Hey, old friend. Can you still wield the sword?
I'm getting too old to fight. This time, I've come to say goodbye.
I see. Then, how about one last game of Akitsu Hazara?
All right.
The samurai gave his best effort during the game, but had to quit halfway through because he was too weak. After putting down his Agoita, Kamai remained silent for a long time before letting out a long sigh.
What a shame.
Their friendship started as something they looked forward to, and in just a few decades it turned into regret. We yokai are different from humans. We have longer lifespans and different natures, but we share the same world. We interact with one another. We are drawn to one another, and will eventually part ways.
Oh.
So, you mean...
I was hiding on this beach, waiting for the last of my days. But those 3 yokai came and set up the Akitsu Yugen here, which woke me from my slumber. I didn't want them to approach humans with unbridled optimism and enthusiasm just because they'd heard the legend of Kamai and the samurai. That would simply be repeating the same mistake.
Is that why you pretended to be a ghost? To scare all the people away from here? Oh, So you must be the one who trapped that guy on the beach. That was a little bit harsh, don't you think?
My power has become pretty weak now, and most of the time I just use some props I've collected to scare people. I can't show myself when there are a lot of people around. But that jerk was greedy. He wanted to steal the decorations from Akitsu Yugen and sell them for a profit. That's why I used my yokai power, to teach him a lesson.
Ah, so that's what happened. You have a strong sense of justice.
Your true form is this pair of Hagoita, isn't it?
Hagoita? Oh, wait! So that means she's...
The pair of Hagoita used by Kamai and the human samurai to play Akitsu Hazura hundreds of years ago. You gradually developed sentience after being influenced by great yokai power. You were the closest to witness their story. And if my theory is correct, this pair of Hagoita is also the item we need to find for the third round of the test of courage.
Excellent work. You figured it all out. Congratulations, little ones. You've passed the third round of the test of courage.
Miko, Lady Yae, you're...
I followed Kitsune Saigu around the Mikawa Flower Festival one year and saw her play Akitsu Hazura. That was when I saw you. You didn't have a human form at the time and possessed only the earliest traces of sentience.
I remember now. You were on Kitsune Saigu's shoulder.
I went for a stroll on the beach some time ago and sensed a familiar yokai power. Though your power was weak, I was still able to find you. You were sitting in a tree, gazing at the tourists below. I overheard you telling yourself that you must be patient and avoid contact with humans.
Is it really worthwhile for us yokai to interact with humans?
Why not? Tell me, how did you feel when you played Akitsu Yugen with the Traveler?
I felt happy, but...
We yokai are not like humans. Humans have too short a lifespan, and the day will inevitably come when we must say goodbye. However, the bond formed by friendship will not be broken, but rather carried on in a new form. There's no reason to be upset by this. Time flies by in an instant, and life passes by like a dream. So, you must be happy in the present. You should understand what I mean now. Well then, are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's great!
The original Mikawa Flower Festival was much more lively, but even if you could attend the original, you probably wouldn't be as happy as you are now. Because it's always more fun to enjoy a festival with friends, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you. Traveler, do you have a moment? I'd like to talk to you. Alone on the beach. I'm sorry that I spoke so strangely when we first met. I'm sure it must have scared you. I expected you to flee in terror. But when we met again, you acted like you had no trouble being around me. Perhaps it's because I've always wanted to be like Kamai and play Akitsu Yugen with humans. Or perhaps it was because I knew I didn't have much time left, and I didn't want to be alone. When we played Akitsu Yugen, Paimon said the loser would have to grant the winner a wish. Let me think. I wish for you to remember me. No. I only have one wish, so I better make it count. Okay. Listen carefully. My wish is... I wish that every day of your journey ahead will be filled with joy, like a festival.